Hey harmonizers, it's time for Pretzel to have her first time outside the pen. Pretty excited for her to be out here. She was doing really well with her leading, so I thought let's try taking her outside. And as you can see, we went out to go for a nice little graze. This is kind of the nicest thing to do once they start getting ready to be leading and you could approach them. It's really nice to take them out for grass so they can realize that going outside is a great time together, and then it kind of gives a little bit more of a purpose for being caught as well, and it's just kind of a nice thing for them to discover and do with you. So in the beginning, it's not really about me trying to make her do this and make her do that. It's like, hey, look, I'm trying to teach you these skills so that way we can go hang out together. I thought this was super cute. These guys are being the peanut gallery over there, watching and checking out what Pretzel is up to, and she's just being super chill, taking everything in. She's looking around a little bit, but mostly just kind of keeping her distance a little bit from me and following along. And I was really impressed that when we were behind the arena here, where we've got some of our different implements and things, that she just walked by and just seems to have a really relaxed energy about her, where she's really thinking, really trying to figure out what's going on. We've got this is kind of like the end of the arena where we don't normally take people. That's my dad's boat getting ready to go into the water. And it's just kind of a bit of a storage area. She did really well with going past all that strange stuff, and I decided to take her over to the side of the arena and just work a little bit on touching her a little bit outside of the pen and giving her lots of really long grass. And what I wanted to work on is what I'm doing here, where I'm petting the front of her face, on the side of her neck. She's really comfortable with me on the left side of her body, so I'm trying to build on that a little bit. Want to start getting onto that right side of her body, and I do that by rubbing her on her neck and gradually shifting over to the front of her face. And then as she gets comfortable with that, I'll start rubbing her on the other side as well, which is of course how she got her name Pretzel, that she would rather pretzel her body and bend herself to keep looking at me out of the left eye than let me be on that right side. And when we're out of the pen like this in an open area with the grass and everything, I have to be a little bit more careful about pushing that threshold and making sure that I'm not overwhelming her, because here, if she gets overwhelmed, she's going to completely run away. Probably not. She probably would just run back to the pen where her friends are, because that's where she would feel safest. So it's probably not such a huge deal, but either way, we want to make sure we're respecting those thresholds and building her confidence up slowly and steadily, rather than causing her to get to a moment where she wants to panic and attack. So I'm using grass as a reinforcer to say, hey, like, you know, if I touch you on your head here, we're going to get some grass, and if you look at me out of your right eye, then you're going to get more grass, and just trying to build that up little bit by little bit. And you can see she's doing really well at taking the grass by hand, which is really fantastic. What I found interesting is she didn't really want to put her head down much to eat the grass. She'd rather have her head up and me hand feed her the grass. She wasn't really trying to dive for the grass, which surprised me a little bit because she's really comfortable eating, and I've tossed grass on the ground before to her, so I know she's comfortable putting her head down. And this grass is really luscious. Like you can see in the video, it's very green, it's very fresh. There's lots of it. So I thought it was really interesting that she didn't feel like she could let her guard down enough to just graze simply with me. So that's something that I definitely want to keep in mind. But also I'm just picking her lots of grass, and then I get to use it as that positive reinforcement, which works in my favor a little bit. So I'm okay with that. And here again, you can see I'm working on touching those that forehead between the eyes area, and as she's accepting of that, then I'll just keep working my way onto that right side, while of course being really respectful of those thresholds. So most of the time when we're trying something new, we want to be in an enclosed space, make sure that it's not going to be somewhere a horse could get out. And although I don't think she's going to run away, I think if she were to get loose, she'd probably just run back to her buddies, which are in the pen. But we don't want to take a chance on that. So I want to go really slowly, since we're out of the pen. want to be really mindful of what she's ready for, and then that way we're not going to cause her to get overwhelmed, which ultimately is our goal anyways. We don't want the horse feeling overwhelmed, but we just have to be that little bit extra careful when we're out of the pen, especially since it's her first time out of the pen. Sometimes they can be a little bit more jumpy and worried just in general, so we want to make sure that she's feeling her best and feeling really confident about whatever it is that I'm doing. She's doing really, really well with that. You can see there she's still looking at me out of that left eye. She's got her head actually turned as if to block me from going on her right side. So definitely find that interesting, and I will definitely work on touching that right side even more. But I want to do that where we both feel really, really safe, because that's going to help us do even better. So for that, might do that when we're in the smaller pen, or who knows, after I take her out for more grass out here, maybe we'll be able to work more on that out of the pen as well. But for now, just want to make sure she feels really, really safe. Here you can see I'm just having her kind of look at me out of that right eye while I'm giving her some grass. She's really trying to bend and pretzel herself and not allow me to look at her out of that right eye. And I don't think anything's wrong with the eye. I think that's just something that horses do sometimes. They have a dominant eye, and we have to remember that because of the way their brain is structured, it's not like if they see something on their left side, it's the same on the right side. They need to expose and train both sides of their body so that way they can understand that everything's going to be okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Pretzel's first time out of the pen, and thanks for following and watching along. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.